Good evening. Good evening. I am not here to argue with you. I will help you. Words are only auxiliaries, and sometimes words are an interference. Nevertheless, let us use a few simple words to lift a burden. If you have come tonight with a tightening in the chest over purpose, with that anxious hum, let us let it go now, not by willpower, but by quiet recognition. Be still and know that I am God. Do you see? The stillness is the first relief. The knowing is the substance of it. In our day, a strange pressure has crept into the spiritual life, the hunt to find a mission, to decode a hidden soul contract as if heaven were a bureaucrat filing your assignment in a drawer marked later. We read the omens, we compare timelines, we listen for a voice from out there, and when it does not speak loudly on our schedule, we suspect that we missed the sign. I know the feeling. Everyone who has sought the light has known it, but measure it by fruitage. By their fruits ye shall know them. What is the fruit of this hunt? Restlessness, comparison, subtle self-accusation, the quiet thought that God is withholding the map until you have prayed, fasted, or networked just right. Do you follow that? Purpose anxiety is often the sign we have made mission into a thing to find instead of a life to live. Watch the inner weather when purpose is pushed into the future. The present is evacuated. The room you are in becomes a waiting room. The next conversation is merely a stepping stone, and the person in front of you is a clue, not a brother. It is as if we are saying, when the contract arrives, then I will be, while the Master says, take no thought for the morrow, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. The kingdom does not mail you a future appointment. The kingdom of God is within you. Let me say it plainly. Your mission is not a mystery outside you. It is what God is doing as you now, not as a special performance to be staged later, not as a role to audition for, but as the very presence that breathes you and looks out from your eyes. I and the Father are one. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear that not only as ancient narrative, but as present truth. When you hear Son, understand the divine nature God manifest as individual being. Do you see how that dissolves the chase? If God is the life of you, then your mission is not concealed in clauses or conditions. It is the fact of God's being appearing as the ordinariness of this moment. Look around you, your kitchen table, your desk, the neighbor you keep missing, the email you are tempted to avoid. Mission is not absent from any of it. If it were, God would be absent, and that cannot be. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. That is not a promise of a future package delivery. It is an isness, ever with me. All that I have. The anxiety fades not because you have solved a riddle, but because there is nothing to solve. There is only something to recognize. So for this hour, rest the hunt. Let the mind stop bargaining with heaven. We are not trying to secure a contract. We are letting presence bear witness to itself where we stand. If you will sit with me in that, even for these minutes, you will notice a small fruit already breath lengthening, shoulders releasing. That is not emotion. That is the sign that the search is yielding to the found. We will say more of it. But for now, let the simple recognition do its work. God, the infinite one, is appearing as you. Mission is not postponed. It is lived. Do you see? Let us be gentle here. I am not condemning a single sincere soul who has tried to make sense of life with charts, timelines, and sacred vocabulary. Sincerity is precious, and I will help you. But sincerity is not the same as realization. Words are only auxiliaries, and sometimes words are an interference. Do you follow that? There is a pattern abroad that turns God into a distant scheduler and life into a scavenger hunt. Find the clause, decode the symbol, meet the deadline, or else. That or else is the tell, or else betrays fear, and perfect love casteth out fear. When we say soul contract, as if heaven filed a document that can be misplaced, we have smuggled into our worship the belief in two powers, God and mistake, God and time, God and a failed signature. That is not guidance. It is hypnotism wearing a spiritual costume. Scripture does not present a God who abandons you to a clerical error. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Lo, I am with you always. Do you see how these are not future tense promises, but facts of presence? If presence is present, what contract must you chase? What clock must you appease? I have sat with dear ones who came carrying binders, soul maps, numerologies, karmic ledgers. Their eyes were tired, their breath tight, and the air around them said, if I miss it, I ruin it. That is the arm of flesh, nothingness, claiming law, snake in the rope. It is the same old mesmerism, now labeled holy. And because the label is holy, it is harder to drop. You fear that if you stop hunting, God will be offended, or you will fall behind your destiny. Behind what? The kingdom of God is within you. Before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Guidance is not delayed, it is imparted. It is operational the moment consciousness yields. One evening, a woman phoned from another city. It is in my contract to start a foundation this year, she said, and I am blocked. Perhaps I have missed my window. I said only, I will help you. Then I kept silence. No diagnosis of her timeline, no rummaging in her past lives, no adding more words to the pile. In that quiet, the sense of a person with a missed window dissolved, and I could only know I and the Father are one. When she exhaled, she whispered, it is not a foundation, it is a neighbor. The next day she helped the ill man across the hall arrange meals for a week. Peace filled her apartment. That was not a demotion from destiny, it was presence fulfilling itself, fruitage. By their fruits ye shall know them. Here is a test you can trust. If a teaching increases, strain, superstition, and bargaining, if it multiplies rules for appeasing tomorrow, it is not revealing God, it is magnifying hypnosis. If it is God, it simplifies, it quiets, it frees. You will not feel pushed by a deadline, you will feel drawn by a presence. You will not imagine a punishing cosmos, you will witness a guiding love, and very quickly life will show it. Problems yielded without drama, right doors opening without force, and a softness in your dealings with others. If fear rides on your mission guidance, drop it. Resist not evil, unsee it. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Set aside the charts and the tragic calendar and sit with the simple living fact. God is. God is the life of you. God appearing as you is the only contract there is, if you must have a word for it. When you yield to that isness, the rest arranges itself without your anxiety, and the evidence will be unmistakable. Not in thunderclaps, but in the still impartation, my sheep hear my voice, and in the fruitage that follows like dawn after night. Do you see? Let us take one word now, and let it change the whole subject. The infinite way is built around a few words. We do not need many, we need the right ones. One of them is as, do you see? Not like, not through, not by, not for. As. God is manifest as individual being. God the invisible appears as Son the visible. Not appears to, not appears beside, appears as. I and the Father are one. When the Master said, he that hath seen me hath seen the Father, and again, he that seeth me seeth him that sent me, he was not pointing to a personality. He was revealing a principle. The invisible source is forever appearing as the individual. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear that not as flattery to a person, but as the Father's recognition of his own being expressing. Take this slowly, as is a dissolving word. It dissolves distance. It dissolves a ladder you have been climbing. It dissolves a chase after roles. Your mission is not a role to be acquired tomorrow when you have learned the secret handshake. Your mission is the divine activity expressing as your present capacity, as your temperament, as your two hands, as your voice when it is quiet, as your listening when it is deep. Do you follow that? When the source is the doer, the expression does not strain to become itself. The rose does not argue with the bush about its assignment. It appears as the rose. So with you in God. If you think of mission as a hat to wear, you will spend years changing hats, and each one will pinch. If you receive mission as the hat disappears, your very being is the ministry. To be a parent, a clerk, an engineer, a neighbor, these are garments on the form. They will change with seasons. The identity beneath does not change, and the identity is God appearing as you. The world will say, "What is your calling?" And you will answer with a life, not a label. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. That is not a mood. It is as realized. Now test this, not by arguments, but by feeling tone. As you let the word as rest in you, God as me, God as this seeing, as this breath, notice what happens to the frantic search. It cannot hold. The mind cannot both run down the road and stand in the house at once. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Ever with me, all that I have. If the Father is forever pleased in his Son, his own expression, what interview are you late for? What contract can threaten the Son with delay? Drop it, be still, and notice the weight slipping from the shoulders. That is a first fruit, as also corrects another mistake. We have been tempted to imagine that God is good out there, and we are trying to get some of that good in here. That is two powers again, God and me, God and my lack. But if God appears as you, where is the border? Where would the supply begin and the you end? Where would the love begin and the you end? Harmony is, and the way it comes to visibility is as when you meet a brother on the street, you are not required to perform holiness. You are to behold it as him. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. To whom? To the presence that is appearing as your brother. Do you see how this undoes performance anxiety? You are not asked to become spiritual enough to qualify for a mission. You are asked to recognize that mission is the fact of God's being as your being. From that recognition, the hands find themselves doing what is needed, the feet find themselves at the right door, and the mouth finds itself saying, I will help you, or saying nothing at all. And life will confirm it. The fruitage will be quiet, natural, and near, the neighbor helped, the burden lifted, the solution arriving without a parade. Keep that one word close, as. When confusion rises, put no battle into it. Return to as. When ambition flares, return to as. When self-judgment bites, return to as. The Father is not asking you to invent a destiny. He is revealing himself as you. Lo, I am with you always, not beside you always, as you. If you will sit a little with that, the room you are in will cease to be a waiting room. It will be the temple, and you will hear without sound, this is my beloved Son, I am well pleased. That is mission, and it is now. Do you see? Stay with me now, very quietly. The human mind is infatuated with tomorrow. Someday I'll know, someday I'll arrive. It calls that patience or even spirituality, but it is only delay wearing a halo. It is a postponement habit, a temporal trap. It has you looking down the road while you stand in the kitchen with God, and while the eyes are on the horizon, the presence at hand is disregarded. The Master did not say, tomorrow is the day of salvation. He said, through the apostle, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Do you see? Now is not a date, it is a present. What does it mean, practically, that mission is present? It does not mean forcing outcomes, staging dramas, or hurrying providence. It means yielding the restless itch to manage, to earn, to prove, and letting the divine nature be itself where you stand. You are not trying to make God act. You are stepping out of the way where God is already acting as you. Be still and know that I am God. Stillness first, knowing next. When the stillness is dead, the knowing arrives unannounced, and the hands know what to do without an order barked at them. Let us reason a little. If God is omnipresent, where would guidance be absent? If guidance is omnipresent, how could it be missing from this minute? If God is omniscient, does he discover your mission later, the way you discover your keys? If God is omnipotent, what second power of delay is there to oppose him? Lo, I am with you alway. Alway where? Alway here. Alway now. The belief in a future mission is just another form of the belief in two powers, God and time, God and distance, God and a locked door, snake in the rope, arm of flesh, nothingness. So stop scanning the horizon for signs. Scan your own consciousness. What is the quality of the atmosphere you are embodying? Are you moving in a hush that listens or in a strain that bargains? Is there a tenderness that sees the brother as the Father's own appearing, or a subtle appraisal? Is this the big one? Is this my clue? The kingdom does not tease. The kingdom of God is within you. Therefore, the telltale indicator is not in outer omens, but in inner tone, peace, willingness, non-resistance, a readiness to say only, I will help you, and to keep silence after. One evening a man wrote, when the right confirmation appears, I will launch my hospice. He had collected articles, quotes, and signs. Only the skywriting was missing. I said nothing but, I will help you, and sat until the picture of a person dissolved and only presence remained. In that atmosphere, his next email read, I carried soup upstairs to the widow on the 4th floor. That was not the postponed hospice. That was the present mission. Within weeks, a circle formed in his building, meals, visits, vigils. He had not launched a mission. He had ceased postponing presence, fruitage. Before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Understand, then, what mission now means. It means that the thing you were waiting for is the nature you are. When you stop rehearsing tomorrow, you find that the Christ has been rehearsing nothing. It has been living. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. Now, faith is not will be. Mission is not created by your planning. It is recognized in your resting. And the recognition is tested, not by glow or concept, but by what follows. Burdens lightening without explanation. The next right task presenting itself without strain. The brother seen without a label. Keep the inward pivot simple. At the first twitch of searching, stop and ask, not what should I do, but what am I knowing God to be here? If you are knowing two powers, drop it. If you are knowing distance, drop it. Return to as, and as you stand in that, the companion word that steadies it will begin to whisper itself, this is, not will be, is. We will take that more fully, but for now let it breathe through you. God is, love is, guidance is, presence is. Therefore, mission is. When mission is understood as presence, it cannot be postponed, it can only be lived. Do you follow that? If you do, you will feel the shoulders rest again, and you will notice, without any announcement, that the room you are in is already the ministry. Now let us receive the companion word, is. The infinite way is built around a few words. We do not collect a vocabulary. We deepen a realization. As shows you identity, is shows you actuality. Spiritual work is never an attempt to make something true. It is the quiet willingness to recognize what is true. You see, you are not trying to bring God in. You are acknowledging that God is. You are not attempting to add life to life. You are consenting to the life that is the life of you. Let the cadence do its work in you. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Abundance is. Intelligence is. Guidance is. Omnipresence is. Omnipotence is. Omniscience is. I am, not shall be, not if I qualify, is. When the psalmist hears, be still and know that I am God, the imperative is not to manufacture a God event. It is to rest in isness until it becomes the atmosphere of thought. Before Abraham was, I am. In him we live and move and have our being, present being, not future becoming. Consider the mathematics of it. You are not trying to make 2 times 2 become 4. It is 4. You may be in a dark room and not see the slate, but the fact is untroubled by your dimness. Turn on the light, and the 4 that is appears to your eye. Our spiritual practice is that turning. We do not coerce God to square our arithmetic. We admit light. The appearing of 4 is not a creation, it is a recognition. So it is with life, with health, with supply, with peace. And so it is with what the world is calling your mission. You are not manufacturing a purpose, outlining it, timing it, and bullying it into manifestation. You are consenting to the divine nature already established within being, the is of God expressing as you. This has consequences. If mission is, it cannot be withheld. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. Already. White already? The Master will not indulge our postponements. He does not send you out to make fields white. He bids you lift your eyes to behold what already is and to move as that recognition directs. When you accept is, action follows without strain. The right word comes without rehearsal. The needed door is open, or else the wall itself grows a door at your approach, and you will know it is God because the atmosphere around it is rest. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Now measure your inner talk against this standard. Are you still speaking in futures? When I have clarity, when I have support, when I heal this floor, that is the letter bargaining with tomorrow. Drop it. Let the Spirit speak its present tense. God is. Therefore, expression is. Therefore, mission is. As you sit in that, you are not idle. You are aligning. The light is being turned on in consciousness, and what had seemed a riddle takes the simple shape of the next kindness, the next competent task, the next quiet refusal to participate in fear. Fruitage will appear close at hand, evidences of peace, sufficiency, right placement, and they will not ask applause. But let us be sober. The moment you lean into is error will protest. It must, because its only life is your attention. It will say, not you. It will say, not now. It will present the ledger of limitation, the biography of failure, the marketplace measuring stick, and it will paint them wholly to keep you courteous to your chains. That is the nature of mesmerism, a universal belief in 2 powers parading as prudence. Arm of flesh, snake in the rope. Do not wrestle it as a person or a condition, Do not confer dignity upon it by argument. Depersonalize it at the door. Name it nothing in and of itself, a suggestion only, never a law. Resist not evil, unsee it. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Let us hold the field. When fear flares, slow down and let the anaphora restore you. Harmony is, life is, love is, guidance is, I am. Say it if you must, but more truly, let it say itself in you. The moment you feel the atmosphere soften, look out and behold the brother, the task, the day. Mission will not arrive with trumpets. It will show itself as normalcy made luminous. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Ever. All is. Do you follow that? If you do, the ache of self-invention will end, and the dignity of realization will begin. You will not be creating a mission. You will be discovering that you cannot escape it, because you cannot escape is, and that is your safety. That is your peace. Now, if as and is have begun to settle in you, we must be honest about what seems to interrupt them. The chief blocker is the personal sense, the belief that I, as a separate self, must figure out God's plan and then execute it before the clock runs out. Do you see? That I is not you. It is the mask of mesmerism. It is the voice that says, if I choose wrong, I ruin everything. If I miss the sign, God will be disappointed. That is not guidance. That is the belief in two powers, God and mistake, God and time, God and your cleverness. The moment you accept two powers, you have enthroned a phantom. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. So the God is always this, a self apart from God, trying to save itself. Understand the mechanics? Error operates as hypnotic suggestion, not as a person, law, or substance. It whispers out of the universal mind's habit, chance, lack, misdirection, and it puts on a robe of prudence, so you will salute it. It paints pictures on the screen of thought, paths branching, windows closing, destinies derailing, then calls the collage realism, arm of flesh, nothingness claiming influence. Like the snake in the rope glimpsed at dusk, it startles you until the light is turned on and you discover it was only a coil of hemp. Like the non-existent white poodle I have mentioned barked about on the corner, seen by no one, yet for a few moments the neighborhood runs. When the suggestion is believed, the blood runs. When it is recognized as suggestion, the pulse returns to normal. Do you follow that? Mission anxiety is often just that mesmerism. It masquerades as responsibility. Be very careful. One wrong step and you are out of your purpose. Nonsense. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Single to what? Single to God as the only life, law, and cause appearing as you. When the eye is double God and a rival power, the body is full of agitation. The cure is never more analyzing of options. The cure is the withdrawal of belief from the rival. Unsee it. Resist not evil. Drop the picture of a precarious future and stand still long enough to know is. A man came with 3 offers on the table and panic in his chest. If I pick wrong, I betray my mission. I said only, I will help you, and kept silence. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. In that quiet, the picture of a person at a fork dissolved, and I could only know I and the Father are one. Very soon his breathing changed. By the next day he accepted 1 offer, not out of bravado but out of rest, and the other 2 closed without regret. The real work was not choosing among 3, it was unseeing the idol of 2 powers. Fruitage followed ease in the new place. Provision that arrived without strain, and a neighbor helped in the first week. By their fruits ye shall know them. Here is your practice. When the mind cries, what should I do? Do not get busier. Do not consult the horoscope of fear. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Name the disturbance, what it is, hypnotic suggestion, a universal belief in two powers, and let it pass without hospitality. Then let the question be changed by light. What is God being as me right now? Not tomorrow, now. Perhaps as competence, quietly finishing the task before you. Perhaps as listening that heals a brother without a speech. Perhaps as a refusal to rehearse dread. You will know by the tone, peace first, motion after. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed where? On the one. Not on the ledger of pros and cons. On is not on the anxious fiction of a missing plan. As you sustain that singleness, the supposed block reveals itself as no thing. Snake in the rope, non-existent poodle, and what remains is as God appearing as you and is the presence living itself where you stand. Do you see? When error is depersonalized, mission ceases to be a riddle and action becomes the natural language of realization. Now let us take the method up into our hands and make it simple enough to use at the kitchen sink. Drop it. Drop the person. Drop the condition. Drop the storyline. Do you see? As long as you stare at the human picture, you hypnotize yourself with it. You give it the only life it has your attention. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is not a critique of the photograph. It is the refusal to take the photograph as reality. It is a turning, an inner pivot from the scene to the source, from the arm of flesh to the eye that is God. It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. This is how you do it. A report arrives. A face scowls. A bank figure blinks red. Your first movement is not analysis. Your first movement is depersonalization. Name it correctly. Hypnotic suggestion. A universal belief in two powers. Seeking belief. Snake in the rope. Non-existent white poodle. It has no person, law, or substance. It borrows your fear and calls it evidence. Withdraw the fear, and the evidence dissolves back into mist. Resist not evil, unsee it. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Drop it. When you drop the person and the condition, you are not abandoning your brother. You are honoring him. You are declining to see him as a problem or a patient. You are beholding him as the Father's own appearing. God is manifest as individual being. Say within, if words are needed, this is not my life trying to become spiritual. This is God appearing as individual being. I and the Father are one. Then be still. Let the atmosphere change. Let us stand revealed. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. Do you follow that? The treatment is not aimed at the surface. It opens the way for the fact beneath the surface to register in consciousness. Be careful here. Do not throw truths like stones at the suffering. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. When someone calls, I do not give them a speech. I say, I will help you, and I keep silence. Silence is not neglect. It is consecration. One night a father called about a child in fever. The habit would have been to declare this and that, to quote a page or two. Instead, I said only, I will help you, and turned within until the picture of a sick child and a helpless parent disappeared. There was no longer a parent and a child. There was only the one appearing as individual being. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Very soon the tone of the house changed. The child slept. The next day there was no fever. Fruitage. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Now bring this down into the steps you can practice every hour. First, pause. Refuse the rush to manage. Second, depersonalize. This is suggestion only, not person, not law, not substance. Third, return to as and is. God is. God appearing as me is the only presence and power here. Be still and know that I am God. Fourth, receive. Do not strain to declare. Let the impartation come. It will come as peace. Peace first, motion after. Fifth, move in the light you have, not to prove a point, but to serve the presence. The action may be as small as washing a dish without resentment, making the call without dread, or seeing the cashier as the Christ of God and nothing else. Mission will not feel like a performance. It will feel like normalcy, freed of anxiety. Practice this where life puts you in traffic. Drop the other driver and the irritation. Let as remain. In the office dispute, drop the difficult person. Behold the one. In finances, drop the ledger of fear. Let is establish sufficiency. With the news, drop the hypnotism of calamity. Hold to the single eye. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. You are training consciousness to default to presence, not a one-time insight, a discipline. Daily, hourly, in little things most of all, because little things reveal the habit you carry into great ones. When you depersonalize the problem, as stands revealed. When as stands revealed, mission becomes natural. You will find yourself saying, I will help you, and discovering that you already are. You will notice that without a plan, you are at the right door. Without a slogan, your touch is gentle. Without an argument, the fear in the room loosens. Now, faith is the substance, not later, now. Drop the person, drop the condition, drop the storyline. Let as remain, and life will testify for you by the fruitage. Do you see? Now let us make this so practical that you can carry it in your pocket. There are two stages to this discipline. First, the letter conscious knowing. Second, the spirit receptivity, the listening ear. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. Do you see? The letter is not wrong. It is the primer. The spirit is the flow. At the outset, you will have to prime the pump. Later, the water runs of itself. Begin with set moments and short, clean recognition. Upon waking before the foot touches the floor, consciously know God is. I and the Father are one. God appearing as me is the only presence and power here. Say it quietly, without strain. Before meals, God is my meat and drink. Life is the life of me. Before any matter of money, omnipresence is supply. Abundance is. I am not adding to it or taking from it. Before work, intelligence is, guidance is. The action of God appears as my competence, as my honesty, as my care. Before sleep, be still and know that I am God. The day returns to is 5 placements. Not long, not loud, just enough to prime the pump and set the tone. In the beginning, you will do more of the speaking. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. But at this stage, you will find that a few right words, repeated faithfully, clear the static and turn you Godward. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Omnipresence is. I am. Do it not to persuade a deity. Do it to steady the gaze. After 2 or 3 sentences, stop, be still, listen. This is where the shift from letter to spirit is made, when you dare to let the recitation end and the receptivity begin. Do you follow that? What are we listening for? Not voices and not drama. We are listening for impartation, the inner assurance that rises without your authorship. At first it may come as a hush in the center, as breath that slows, as a soft clarity without words. Later it will come as specific light, and you will hear yourself say, I will help you. Or you will find your hand already doing the next right thing without an argument in the head. That is the goal state, receptivity, where truth is not recited by you, but imparted to you. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. Not my strategy, not my willpower. Christ liveth my life. Make it a rhythm in the little things, because little things are the practice field for large ones. When the phone rings, pause. Do not answer a person. Receive the presence. When you open the ledger, pause. Do not count fear. Receive sufficiency. When you write the email, pause. Do not send anxiety. Receive peace. In each case, prime if needed, harmony is, intelligence is. I am then fall silent. Peace first, motion after. If the peace does not come at once, do not bully it with more words. Sit one more moment. You are shifting agencies from the arm of flesh to the spirit that quickeneth. Do not be surprised that for a season the practice feels deliberate. That is priming the pump. You are establishing a habit of turning away from two powers, away from personal sense, into as and is. In time, the turning becomes your native movement. You will wake already within is. You will speak less and accomplish more. You will discover that silence has authority, and life will verify it by fruitage tasks, finished without friction, right contacts without hustle, needs met without bargaining, brothers helped without speeches. Keep your statements spare and your listening generous. If you forget and run on in declarations, stop in mid-sentence. Drop it. Return to the stillness. Let the impartation come. The day will begin to feel guided from within, and with it comes the blessed relief. You are not manufacturing a mission. You are consenting to it. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. Mission becomes clear as you practice as and is until declaring yields to receiving. Do you see? Now that you are listening, let us be very clear about the sound you are to expect. Guidance does not come with fireworks. It does not audition for you. And after the fire, a still small voice. That was Elijah's discovery, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in the hush that cannot be. Argued with. Do you see? Guidance arrives as a quiet rightness, a settled direction, the ordinary step suffused with an extraordinary peace. It wears no costume. It needs no trumpet. My sheep hear my voice, said the Master. And again, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. When the impartation is real, peace attends it. Not excitement peace, not vanity peace. We must learn discernment, because suggestion will mimic urgency and call itself God. Here is your simple test. If the impulse demands haste, if it leans on fear, hurry or you will miss God, question it. If it flatters the person, at last you will be seen, applauded, vindicated, question it. If it requires you to trespass your integrity for a result, it is the arm of flesh dressing as wisdom. Drop it. If, on the other hand, the leading carries a calm authority, no push, no wobble, no bargain, follow it gently. If it makes you more honest, more tender, more available to say only I will help you, trust it. If it leaves you less concerned with how you appear and more concerned that God be evident as love where you stand, you are hearing rightly. By their fruits ye shall know them. Notice how guidance actually rises in you. It seldom begins with a sentence, it begins with a nature. You find a patience present that you did not work up. You find an affection for the brother who annoyed you. You find competence flowing through your hands without self-congratulation. You discover that you are not thinking, what is my mission? You are already helping. That is God appearing as you. That is guidance as isness. It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The flesh will try to dramatize the moment. The spirit will dignify the moment. One inflates the person, the other disappears the person and leaves presence. An evening came when a woman insisted on a sign. Should I sell the house? I am waiting for a lightning bolt word. I said only, I will help you, and went still until the picture of a woman and a decision faded. In the quiet, a very ordinary light formed. Repair the broken steps and invite the neighbor family for supper. She did. Within a month, the matter solved itself. Buyers came from the neighbor's circle without strain, without advertising, and with a kindness in the transaction that surprised all. That is, guidance. First, the impartation of peace. Then the next right normal step. Then fruitage order, sufficiency, and a blessing shared. Make your conditional logic clean, and you will not be fooled. If the voice within shouts and scans the horizon for confirmation, resist the theatrics, return to is. If the motion proposed can be delayed an hour without dread, it likely was never spirit's to begin with. God is not late. If a step can be taken humbly, in silence, without announcement, and still feel correct, you are in safe hands. If after moving, the peace increases, the integrity holds, and your capacity to bless expands and give thanks, you have been guided. If agitation grows, if ego must be fed, if collateral harm mounts, stop. Do not defend the mistake. Re-enter the stillness and let the impartation correct the course. Do you follow that? Remember, our words are auxiliaries. Our practice is the authority. Guidance is impartation, not invention. It arrives in peace and leads into peace. It will often send you to wash a dish, return a call, keep a promise, or close your mouth. Mission is not proved by mystical vocabulary. It is proved by fruitage, competence that blesses, kindness that heals, order that forms without compulsion. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Ever all is. Let the ever and the all do their work as you. Then look not for omens, but for outcomes, the quiet outcomes that tell no story except this: God has been here as you, and the room knows it. Now let us be exact about validation. By their fruits ye shall know them. Not by their feelings, not by their announcements, by their fruits. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Your mission is not authenticated because you believe you have one. It is authenticated because God's presence, realized as, and is, accomplishes something where you stand. Do you see? The measuring rod is fruitage, harmony, appearing, supply adequate without strain, relationships righted, health stabilized, problems quickly and easily solved, not occasionally, but characteristically, not with drama, but with a growing ease that is the atmosphere of God's government. Make this very simple. If your practice of as and is true, fear should be diminishing. If your practice is true, reconciliation should be easier. If your practice is true, supply should arrive without bargaining and self-accusation. If your practice is true, the body should show the impress of peace, rest deeper, breath easier, pains that once shouted now losing their argument. If your practice is true, problems do not nest, they present and are met. If that is not your experience, be honest and grateful for the mirror. There is no condemnation in this test. There is only clarity. Perhaps you have been on an emotional jag, stirred by the music of truth, but not yet settled into the practice. Perhaps you have loved the idea of mission while entertaining two powers in the daily that is curable. The cure is not more noise. The cure is returning to as and is until the inner weather changes. Here is your audit for the last few weeks. Has fear reduced in frequency or force? Has compassion increased not as sentiment, but as the impulse to say quietly, I will help you, and mean it? Has your capacity to help improve fewer words, more presence, quicker ease where you are? Are resentments dissolving faster? Are you less hypnotized by appearances, able to drop the person and the condition and let his remain? Are you handling money with more order and less dread? Are you finding that the next right task comes without pushing? If your answer tilts to yes, you have fruitage. If it tilts to no, do not defend a mistake. Return to the stillness. Prime the pump with clean recognitions. Harmony is, life is, guidance is, I am, and then listen. Peace first, motion after. Do you follow that? Reframe your metrics. Mission is not a platform. Mission is not follower counts, invitations, or a perfected biography. Mission is not mystical certainty that can be displayed, nor eloquence that can be quoted back to you. Mission is the quiet evidence of God's government in daily living. For the kingdom of God is not meat and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Ghost. Righteousness, things rightly placed, integrity kept. Peace, an atmosphere that calms rooms. Joy, not the shout of spectacle, but the strength that does not fray at noon. Let your life tell that story. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. See the order. Your light, they're seeing the Father glorified. Not you glorified, the Father. Out of such fruitage, service flows of itself. You will discover that others are blessed without you making yourself important. Presence first, words last. You will notice that you are led to do the ordinary thing with an extraordinary care. Write the email that heals a misunderstanding. Give the hour that steadies a neighbor. Return the money that was not yours without fanfare. The one who needed a sermon will find your silence more authoritative than your vocabulary. Faith without works is dead, and in this way faith becomes works, God appearing as you, doing what God does, blessing, ordering, healing, providing. If you want the cleanest assurance of mission, stop looking at the mirror of self-judgment and look at the garden. Are there flowers? Are there fewer weeds? Do the travelers rest in its shade? If the answer is yes, give thanks. As and is are operative. If the answer is not yet, give thanks that you can see it and then sit down inside and let the impartation come. This is not a lazy person's work, but neither is it a desperate performance. It is steadiness. It is practice. It is God's own life proving itself in you and through you as fruitage. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you see? Out of this fruitage, service takes its right form. It is not a performance, it is a presence. In the face of another's need, reduce speech. My conversation is usually limited to, I will help you. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Do you see? The moment we begin to explain, to justify, to decorate, we risk inflating the person and dimming the presence. But when we quietly say, I will help you, and turn within, we are doing the only thing that helps. We are consenting to God as the actor, God as the doer, God appearing as individual being right where the trouble claims to be. Be still and know that I am God. The metaphysics is exact. You are not battling a condition. You are not trying to push a darkness out with noise. You are standing in the realization of is while honoring as. Is God is. Harmony is. Government is. Life is. As God appearing as this very identity. Not a patient, not a problem, not a personality to be fixed. I and the Father are one. When that becomes the atmosphere of the moment, there is no room left for two powers, no God and disease, no God and lack, no God and confusion, only the one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Oneness realized is the ministry. The rest is reportage. Here is the inner treatment. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Refuse the photograph. Name the disturbance impersonal. Hypnotic suggestion, a universal belief in two powers, the arm of flesh, nothingness, claiming law. Drop it. Turn your gaze to is be still and know. Then honor as God is manifest as individual being. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Let the picture of a needy human dissolve in that light until only the one remains, wearing the forms of father, mother, child, client, stranger, but never ceasing to be the one. Stay until peace registers, peace first, motion after. If words arise from that peace, they will be few and clean. Often there will be none. Presence will have said enough. In practice, it looks like this. A message arrives. Please pray, the report is bad. I answer, I will help you, and I go still. No recital, no argument with medicine or matter. Within minutes, the inner weather changes. Fear releases its hold. A right step presents sleep now. Call this name. Check that figure. Apologize there. Later, the news returns. Something eased. The numbers shifted. The way opened. Fruitage. Or you stand in a kitchen where tempers have been flaring and you speak nothing at all. You know is you honor as, and you find your hand setting the table as if for a sacrament. The room settles. The quarrel forgets its script. Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. Such as you have is presence, and it heals more than silver and gold. Do you see how this dissolves purpose anxiety? Mission is not a lifelong branding project. It is immediate availability to love. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, ye have done it unto me. The least of these is any next one, any next need, met not with slogans but with presence. This is the relief. You do not have to discover your mission as if it were buried. You have to consent to it where you are. As and is, render the search obsolete. Today is the appointment, now is the hour. But do not mistake the quiet for ease. This is not a lazy person's work. It is discipline. It is humility under pressure. It is learning to keep your mouth when the impulse is to preach. It is training the mind to drop the person and the condition 100 times a day. It is standing watch when fear parades in costume and demands a speech. Let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. The deed here is inner fidelity. The truth is singleness of vision. You will practice in little ways until the habit holds in great ones. You will return and return, priming the pump with 2 or 3 sentences, then receiving until the receiving comes of itself, and your life will testify, not your vocabulary. Presence first, words last. Whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister. Greatness, then, is availability to God as God appears as you. Hold to that, and the garden will answer by the fruitage. Do you follow that? Now, let us be plain about the hour when this is tested. Life will knock, not politely sometimes with a fist. A diagnosis that uses words you had hoped never to hear. A bank notice that feels like a summons. A child's silence stretched too long. The sudden phone in the night. These are the moments that try to pull you back into the old geography, into person, into condition, into two powers. Do you see? We are not dramatizing. We are acknowledging the common weather of human sense. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Overcome how? Not by wrestling pictures, but by refusing them authority, by standing in as and is until the clamor loses its voice. Here is the steady instruction. Resist not evil. Do not enter the ring. Do not shadow box with the photograph. The moment you wrestle an appearance, you acknowledge its power and you are lost in its plot. Drop it. Name it correctly. Hypnotic suggestion. A universal belief in two powers presenting itself as urgency. The arm of flesh. Nothingness claiming to be something. Then return simply, swiftly, faithfully to as and is God is. God appearing as individual being is the only presence and power here. Be still and know. Do you follow that? The knowing is not a speech. It is a yielding. Under pressure, you need a micro practice you can find in the dark. Use this. Pause. One breath. Inwardly declare, without strain, God is appearing as this being. If the need concerns another, God is appearing as this one. That is all. Then listen, not for sentences, listen for the hush, the slight turn of the inner weather. Peace first, motion after. If fear keeps talking, do not shout back. Repeat the same clean recognition once more, then yield again. You are not trying to overpower the mind. You are letting the government be upon his shoulder. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Be alert to a common mistake, preaching truth at yourself as punishment. That is only self-will in a new robe. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. When the storm rises, the temptation is to throw a book at it, pages of declaration hurled like stones. Drop that. 2 or 3 clean recognitions, and then the surrender. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. The aim is not to subdue your fear by louder noise. The aim is to cease authoring the scene and let the impartation take its rightful throne. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Give not after you have shouted loud enough now. You will prove this where life puts you. A hospital corridor at dusk. Pause. God is. God appearing as this being is the only presence here. Listen. You may find yourself simply sitting and holding a hand without commentary. Fruitage will be the easing of breath, the softening of a brow, a decent night's sleep where there was none, a meeting that threatens to turn cruel. Pause at the door. God is. God appearing as all present is the only power here. Listen, you may speak 1 sentence less and accomplish 10 times more, an invoice you cannot see your way through. Pause before the ledger. God is, omnipresence is supply. God appearing as me is order, honesty, sufficiency. Listen, the next right step will be small and decent. Call this name, correct that figure, wait a day, and you will find afterward that peace did not have to bargain. Sustaining mission is exactly this, practicing as under pressure until it is no longer a practice, but your settled atmosphere. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why? Because the shadow is not a second power, and thou art with me as me. In time your reflex will reverse. The knock will come, and before the old heat can rise, the inner word will have already arrived as one word restores orientation. As becomes the climate, is becomes the ground, and fear, finding no echo, falls silent. Then the work proceeds quiet, competent, kind. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you see? We have come a simple road together. From the strain of trying to find a mission somewhere out ahead of you, through the recognition that all such hunting breeds fear because it accepts 2 powers, to the word that changes the subject, as and its companion is. Do you see? When mission is imagined as a future puzzle, the heart tightens. When mission is realized as presence, now the heart rests. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference, but 2 words have served us as a rail, as and is. God appearing as you, God realized as is. Let the logic settle. The notion of soul contracts and mystical assignments to be guessed at may feel elevated, but if it produces anxiety, it is only hypnotism with a spiritual costume. The belief in 2 powers always breeds fear God and something not God. God in your deadline, God in your reputation. Drop that. Back of every photograph is the one. Back of the anxious search is the simple fact. I and the Father are one. Oneness realized ends the hunt. The Father does not contract with the Son. The Father expresses as the Son, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." The pleasure is now, the expression is now, as reveals identity. God the invisible appears as Son. The visible appears as your capacity to bless, as your honesty, as your competence, as your affection, not borrowed, not performed, appearing, stabilizes realization. Harmony is, life is, love is, omnipresence is, I am. You are never striving to create a mission. You are consenting to what is already true of God as you. Hear the scripture as inheritance, not assignment. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Ever with you, all thine, not later, is now the gentle vow. Stop hunting, start consenting. Let God be God as me. That is all. No drama, no bargain, no timetable. In the morning, be still and know. In the crossing of a threshold, be still and know. In the presence of need, I will help you. And then the stillness. Presence first, words last. If confusion rises, do not argue. Return to your two words as God is appearing as this being. God is the only presence and power here. Do you follow that? When you hold to it, even lightly, the inner weather changes. The burden lifts of itself. From here we do not exhibit. We stand by in consciousness. Let that be your ongoing directive. Stand by, not as a fixer, but as witness to as and is. Practice daily, not as compulsion, but as fidelity. 5 placements, if you like, a dozen pauses if you need them, short, clean recognitions, and then the listening ear. Peace first, motion after. Refuse the theatrics of haste, accept the correction of fruitage. If the garden flowers, give thanks and keep still. If weeds appear, do not explain them. Return to the watering. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will find that relief arrives not as a mood, but as government. Rooms will quiet when you enter, not because of you, but because the presence has precedence. Tasks will come right without your noise. Brothers will feel help before you speak. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Easy because you are not authoring outcomes, light because you are carried by isness. And the ancient word will sound within you with new clarity. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Ever, all is. The mission you feared to miss was never apart. It has been the natural evidence of God expressed as you. Hold to this one word as and rest in its companion is. Let this be the end of anxious seeking and the beginning of steady consent. I will stand by with you in consciousness. I will help you, not with many words, but with presence. Live quietly with your 2 words, and let life prove them. The garden will answer. The room will know it. And peace, not excitement, will mark the way. Thank you.